It started with a late-night phone call in which Erica Mina's voice broke as she detailed yet another altercation with her husband, Mendeecees Harris. Rumors had long circulated of his covert difficulties, but now Erica claims his drug abuse and illegal dealing has stabbed their family in the heart, according to insiders who claim she found secret drug caches in his trailer, as well as strange financial transactions into untraceable accounts and coded signals setting up late-night drop-offs. Fans are stunned, their emotions running high, and production crews on Love and Hip Hop reportedly halted filming as word spread of Erica's explosive claims, causing the family to become divided. In a tearful live stream, Erica shared her evidence. On social media and in costume trailers, colleagues whispered that he was demanding proofs and answers. Regarding encounters they never recorded, loud voices reverberated through eerie hallways. Now, with Erica's shocking disclosure, everyone is wondering if Mendeecees is covertly exchanging relief for money, or if his wife is con artists. The morning. Following Erica's tearful live stream, the lot felt like a war zone with lights standing idle, cameras idle, and coffee carts. Fans were waiting to see if the man they supported would be embroiled in scandal or emerge with his reputation intact. The tension was palpable on every social media platform. One assistant producer's eyes widened as she claimed that she had saw Mendeecees leave his trailer at early with a small bag in her hand. I thought it was makeup, while staff huddled in groups and whispered about covert deliveries and hidden pill stashes reverberated through the hallways. Fans are stunned, emotions ran high, and the family was split as Erica's accusations threw a long shadow over every set wall. Fan voice shaking, "Then I saw the pills." Erica was pacing in her own trailer when she received a text from Yandy that said, "We need to confront him now." Erica's phone screen was sparkling with messages from friends, relatives, and network officials. She decided to release the texts she had surreptitiously recorded late at night, in which Mendeecees pleaded for additional supplies, which were barely heard in the clip she ultimately shared. "I can't keep pretending this isn't destroying us." A few moments later, Yandy cornered Mendeecees in the makeup trailer, her voice trembling as she confronted him. "You promised you were in recovery." He claimed he couldn't sleep without it, and the release of those recordings ignited social media, transforming private suffering into a public spectacle. "I thought I had it under control when he slumped to the ground with his head in his hands," and said, "I'm sorry," his tears blending with the harsh fluorescent light. Erica's voice over in the production executives quickly called when the leaked video broke the tension control when she said, "You almost destroyed our family." Her words were like blows, and the sheer wrath in her voice showed how deeply broken she was. A seasoned producer sighed during an emergency halt, saying, "We can't film while this unfolds." In the meantime, tabloids pounced on the reality TV star who turned drug lord, and networks released carefully worded statements about supporting cast wellness and looking into the charges. The various versions of the story, which suggested that Erica acted out of jealousy, only made the mayhem worse and left viewers confused of whom to believe within the Harris household, where siblings were assembled. Banner family in crisis. His brother beat the table while his mother grieved softly in the kitchen while holding a framed picture of Mendeecees smiling with his kids. His mother's face was drawn in whispered circles with concern. Evidence, not rumors. Erica's father remained silent until he put a soft hand on his daughter's shoulder and said, "We stand by you, sweetie," despite the fact that his eyes were filled with terror. Late-night talk shows turned into legal experts analyzed the encrypted communications Erica posted, while addiction counselors offered their opinions on the symptoms of dependency. One therapist cautioned that addiction thrives in secrecy, turning the story into a must-see TV show. As viewers discussed whether Erica's disclosure was a necessary intervention or a case of callous exploitation, the pundits fueled the flames, and another denounced the public exposure as potentially ruining their prospects of recovery. Amidst a personal issue, a former cast member surfaced with fresh allegations that he had witnessed Mendeecees conversing with a man wearing a hoodie behind the stage entrance. "I thought they were shooting a scene," he explained, but it turned out to be actual security. When questioned, the network blamed film production overruns, but the timing matched Erica's text logs, which revealed the junction of storylines that created a persuasive portrayal of criminal activity. Logs later confirmed anonymous visitors after curfew. Was this relapse treatment or a PR move? Fans wondered as Mendeecees withdrew into solitude, and paparazzi flashes showed him exiting a rehab facility with his hood drawn low. "He's poisoning himself in the show," one fan said on Instagram. "Give him a break," another fan replied. The internet discussion reflected the beginning conflict between compassion and criticism, privacy and publicity, and the idea that addiction is an illness. In a leaked video, he denied planning any distribution network and said softly into his phone, "I only ever sold my medications to help friends who were suffering." In her next live stream, Erica reacted angrily, saying, "Friends, you'd provide the confrontation unfolded live, revealing chords deeper than legal risk, the violation of trust between husband and wife, family friends, and others. They were taken away in parking garages at midnight, which is not medicine but trafficking. Came out with contradictory stories. One said Mendeecees had admitted to delivering pills to a boyhood buddy under the mistaken impression that he was assisting, while another acknowledged taking pills and reselling them for money. The two stories twisted reality like a web. Mendeecees broke down in tears as he screamed, "I'm lost," and "I don't know who I am anymore," as the clan assembled for a family intervention that Erica organized, demanding complete openness. Production now faced difficult decisions. Should they record the intervention for a special episode? Could they strike a balance between authenticity and the dignity of real people? His confession provided no definitive answers, only additional questions. A honest service arc was mentioned in crisis notes, but sponsors backed off. One big company halted their sponsorship due to brand safety worries, and the network covertly created a different season. Concentrating on the plots of other cast members, the issue had grown too poisonous to continue unchecked. Outside the studio gates, fans staged prayer vigils and online petitions, with some calling for Erica to drop the charges, seek therapy instead, while others called for authorities to look into the suspected trafficking of the Mendeecees family. One segment went viral, revealing the unadulterated suffering of those who were interested in their narrative. Scores of people attended a vigil at the studio entrance. Erica, fatigued but unbowed, gave a final interview to a late-night blog with lights flickering and whispers of fear and hope mingling. "I never intended to harm him because I love him, and my kids need to be secure from her weakness." Spoke to a lot of people, but others saw her teary visage as proof of exaggeration, saying that, "It's reality TV, not reality." One comment said, "Stop crying for ratings." The gap between empathy and skepticism was more profound than any plot point. As Night Erica sat in the living room, shoulders bent, scrolling through messages of support and contempt, while Mendeecees lay in a guest room with the door locked, seeking peace and quiet during those first difficult days at the Harris residence. The decision weighed heavily on her bones. She had chosen truth over peace, but at what cost? The family was split, with the father and mother torn between believing in their daughter's ability to succeed and being loyal to their son. Eventually, they released a brief statement pledging to help Erica and Mendeecees get through this trying time, guarantee the cast's safety and well-being, but beneath the well-polished statements were ambiguous questions. Would cameras ever document a true recovery, or would the next scandal overshadow this one? Fans eagerly awaited part 2 when the drugs. The morning following Erica's live stream, the studio lot was eerily quiet. Sound stages were dark, and camera crews had disappeared overnight. Rumors of secret pill exchanges and midnight drop-offs reverberated through empty spaces as the investigation deepened, alliances changed, and family ties were put to the ultimate test. Inside a conference room, network executives debated whether to continue recording or stop everything. "We built our show on drama," one producer remarked in a shaking voice, "but this is real life and too dangerous to ignore." Corridors, producers received furious SMS from sponsors demanding explanations. Ignore. In her trailer, Erica met a seasoned private investigator who shared documents that traced Mendeecees' travels and GPS pings, locating him at abandoned garages around 2 in the morning. Her hands trembled as she followed every line on the spreadsheet. It all connects, which contained messages with code names for packages and financial transfers to untraceable accounts. "Friends," she continued slowly, "my husband is running a ring, and it's killing us." Her voice cracked with grief, but she remained resolute. "Assist her in revealing the whole truth, full truth, full truth." Yandy Smith had to endure her own struggle at a neighboring recovery facility, where cameras flocked to her arrival to aid men's reporters yelled, "Yandy, do you still believe in him?" When she attempted to enter the entrance with the phone, in hand following last week's overdose, and she hesitated, her eyes welling with tears. Her response, "Believe in recovery," was more steady than anticipated, "but I need honesty first." Her message went viral on social media, igniting intense discussions over whether she was supporting a man in crisis or a monster. Back on the lot, castmates were huddled in small groups. While filming, a coworker described a strange visitor who gave him a brown packet. The stylist acknowledged that she had discovered unmarked pill bottles in Mendeecees' trailer trash and assumed they were prescriptions. Had they overlooked indicators of as alliances changed, with some supporting Erica's request for intervention and others warning of impulsive betrayal? Illicit deals for rating's sake caused trust to dissolve. Meanwhile, Mendeecees withdrew to a friend's penthouse under severe guard. Fans wondered if he was fleeing from federal authorities or from Erica's fury after paparazzi caught him slipping and via a back door with his hood drawn low. Video leaks purported to show him meeting with 2 mysterious persons and exchanging little packets and cash. Authenticity was not confirmed, but when tabloids played dramatic music while looping film, the harm was done. Inside a downtown law office, Mendeecees, public opinion wavered between anger at an alleged trafficker and sympathy for a guy battling addiction. Attorneys examined the data that Erica's team had given to federal authorities, looking for discrepancies in transfer amounts, strange geolocation logs that duplicated known studio commutes, and message timestamps that didn't match phone records. Their plan was to challenge the veracity of the evidence. Jasmine Rodriguez, the head council member, leaned back and penetrated. "We'll prove this is smoke and mirrors," highlighting possible framing by competing cast members envious of Mendeecees' comeback. Mendeecees' mother, who had previously been steadfast in her religion, now sat quietly in a corner, quivering, while she browsed through social media, said that the Harris relatives struggled with shock and doubt during private family meetings. His sister's voice shifted sharply to the others. "We can't ignore these allegations, but we can't abandon him either." According to a relative, Erica's public appearance might put Mendeecees' family's unity at peril. Tensed under the weight of competing allegiances and anxiety, late-night talk show panels took over the topic. Addiction specialists emphasized the importance of compassion and treatment over censure, while legal analysts cautioned against the perils of making snap decisions without following the proper procedures. "If the evidence holds, we cannot excuse trafficking under the guise of illness," one presenter retorted, while another counselor stated that addiction lives on secrecy and that public exposure can impede someone's recovery. Millions of viewers watched as a personal crisis and legal intrigue collided amid the chaos, and in a secret interview, a former Mendeecees colleague came forward and said he saw money swaps in back alleyways led by Mendeecees described a man with a weak voice who used code names like Alpha Drop and Clean Up. Critics criticized his motivation, calling him a vengeful ex-friend, while supporters contested his evidence. Confirmed Erica's screenshots, the contradictory reports further polarized fans and widened the mystery. Meanwhile, Erica's publicist worked with major media outlets to get her the first sit-down interview following her accusations, and she prepared for questions about motive evidence and possible remorse in private. "I hope Menace gets the help he needs, but I'll fight to protect our children," Erica said, practicing her responses to my statement that I stood up to safeguard my family. The network, sensing an opportunity, carefully balanced sensationalism with primetime coverage guarantees. A prototype outline suggested a 3-part special revealing the operation Erica's struggle for truth and justice, while production execs conducted crisis meetings to rework the season's narrative in case they chose to shift to other cast members or frame the scandal as a redemption arc. Mendeecees' road to recovery. If he came out of hiding sponsors who objected to the idea of making money off of addiction and demanded more transparent wellness procedures before filming started again, the network's public relations staff created new cast support rules and private allegations of illegal activities outside on the lot, where fans stayed overnight in the hopes of seeing the cast members arrive. Some of them carried banners that read, "Seek truth, not ratings." Campfires burned under portable heat lamps as supporters exchanged thoughts and prayed for a resolution, while others pleaded for Mendeecees' return. The community's bedside vigil revealed a deeper yearning for accountability and authenticity in reality television, a desire for genuine. As the sun rose on the second day of this unfolding story, federal authorities acknowledged they had launched an official investigation into the suspected distribution network. Subpoenas were sent to important cast members and investigators from the crew, which included producers and personal assistants, went through set logs, financial records, and messaging backups. Each person who was subpoenaed had to decide whether to participate and risk disclosing personal information or to resist, and in a final twist, an anonymous tip led agents to a remote storage room full with unmarked containers, some labeled with street lingo for drugs. The stakes had never been higher for anyone involved in the dispute, not only Mendeecees. Newspapers the following morning carried the title ring exposed, stating that Erica's bravery might have unearthed a broader criminal organization hiding beneath. The glamour of reality television. Their finding led to a fresh round of arrests and expanded the investigation beyond Mendeecees to suspected co-conspirators. And as the investigation widened, Erica readied herself for the pivotal stage of supporting her testimony in court and facing the full weight of scrutiny while the world watched, divided between scandal, indignation, and redemption. The tale promised future disclosures, court cases, and possibly even healing if the truth could triumph over rumors and real lives could withstand the limelight. The studio lot was strangely quiet the morning after Erica's live stream. The production freeze that had been ordered overnight was hinted at by empty coffee carts and idle cameras. Rumors of midnight drop-offs and secret pill stashes plagued the corridors as producers frantically tried to handle the fallout in a conference room hidden behind Soundstage 3, where executives argued angrily over Erica called an emergency meeting. In her trailer with a small group of trusted allies and a seasoned publicist in attendance to decide whether to cancel the remainder of the season or shift the focus toward addiction awareness. Special sponsors demanded guarantees of cast wellness and data security, saying they could no longer just chase ratings without protecting real people. A former detective presented GPS recordings of Mendeecees' SUV at abandoned industrial locations. At 3 a.m. with her laptop, which showed bank statements with mysterious transfers and credit card charges connected to distant warehouses. His phone code was printed on acrylic sheets, with things like package and drop point emphasized in neon red. Erica's voice faltered as she gestured to the timeline. "This isn't simply addiction," she claimed. "He's handling shipments." A few moments later, Yandi arrived in the lot, her customary composure replaced by genuine worry. As she got out of her car, she grabbed her phone tightly, and reporters surrounded her, yelling. with a single statement: "I support his recovery, but I stand with my friend in seeking the truth." She silenced any questions regarding her husband's alleged dealings. Colleagues silently watched the exchange, unsure if she was supporting Erica's cause or defending her own interests in the network's decision-making process. Another background actor recalled seeing Mendeecees emerge from a service elevator with a brown poly bag, assuming it held food props. Suddenly, those moments felt loaded. Backstage cast members huddled in tiny knots of anxiety. One stylist admitted that she had discovered unmarked pill vials discarded in a makeup waste bin days earlier. With fresh significance, friendships fell apart as Mendeecees remained in isolation at a private rehab center under a court order, while some associates publicly praised Erica's bravery, while others feared the scandal would ruin their careers, and insisted on waiting for official investigations. Yandi put a soft hand on his arm and said, "We're here for you no matter what." He nodded, eyes downcast, and said, "I want to make this right," when his lawyer obtained permission for a solitary family visit in a quiet room. "However, I'm afraid of what will happen next." Aside from the public spectacle outside the lot fan sites, their somber exchange that was posted to a gossip blog added another unsettling element of personal pain. Buzzing with heated argument, hashtags like "Chad Turthu's family apart" and "Seek the righteous," these videos showed a divided audience. While some viewers applauded Erica's bravery in revealing the truth, others criticized her for sharing private information. Each guest seemed to know just enough to add to the mystery in the Harris household, and conspiracy channels examined every detail, from the brand of Mendeecees' SUV to the soil in the warehouse film. Mutual fur. Friends also appeared on podcasts to back or deny accusations. In a private family meeting, Mendeecees' mother, disturbed by the accusations, confronted his siblings. They asked whether they had disregarded warning flags, including late-night texts, inexplicable absences, and suspected debts. His father, a retired police captain, maintained that discretion was crucial, but the mother sobbed that if you loved him, you would support our daughter by looking for evidence. The conflict reflected the larger discussion between federal agents, pursuit of justice and family devotion, carried out a pre-dawn raid on a storage facility connected to Mendeecees' business. Tactical teams dressed in plain clothes took boxes of unidentified prescription vials and escorted a tense warehouse employee away for interrogation. As agents loaded evidence, witnesses recorded the action on their iPhones. Photos of unmarked vans that flashed across social media with phrases like "Operation Exposed" and "Evidence Uncovered" highlighted how Erica's assertions had turned rumors into a full-scale criminal investigation inside the courts. Prompted an emergency hearing, where judges and lawyers argued over the legality of the original search warrant. Prosecutors claimed the scope of the operation justified sweeping measures, while defense lawyers claimed the warrant was too broad, citing privacy violations. The judge ordered a careful review of network executives, held a simultaneous crisis, called to address sponsor concerns, and drafted new contract clauses requiring strict adherence to the law. Observers observed the tension, noting that this was not just another reality show plotline, but a legal battle with real lives on the line. Cast members' wellness checks and digital security assessments. One executive bemoaned how what started out as a quarrel on camera had turned into a warning about unmonitored behavior, while another argued that openness and prompt reforms could rebuild public confidence. Addiction specialists and criminal justice analysts presented opposing viewpoints in their argument, which encapsulated the main conundrum of how to safeguard talent without strangling the very drama that propels the shows. One counselor advocated for empathy and treatment first. Viewers tuned in to see each heated argument as the scandal overshadowed primetime programs, warning of the stigma that destroys lives. A former prosecutor emphasized that accusations of trafficking warranted accountability regardless of personal hardships, Erica's voice cracked as she described how her love for Mendeecees clashed with her obligation to their children in the midst of the chaos on a well-known podcast. "I never dreamed it would go this far," she added, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Is more than just a fictional character on television. He is a father, a son, and a friend." Her candor received praise from many, but critics wrote it off as victimization in the following surprise, an anonymous incident of a despite being muffled. The podcast's reported voice notes from Mendeecees' phone in which he begged for assistance and admitted that he was overwhelmed by debt and desperation, portrayed a picture of a man caught up in bad luck and bad decisions. Legal experts warned that such unverified facts might not be admitted, but the public ate up every word, changing perceptions with every replay. By midnight, a split community was faced with difficult decisions. Support Erica's quest for the truth, or organize in favor of as cameras stayed off actual lives during Mendeecees' recovery and redemption. The boundaries between personal sorrow and entertainment extravaganza were hazy, allowing viewers and cast members to deal with the fallout from exposure and secrecy. Focused on the unfolding drama, lives caught between destruction and rebirth, reality and fiction, and the suspense peaked when federal authorities arrived at Mendeecees' family home before dawn in unmarked cars to execute a search warrant. The Harris household was once a place of holidays, and laughing were disrupted as authorities searched rooms, confiscating 2 safes, locked briefcases, and numerous prescription medicine bottles. From the driveway, Yandy and Erica watched, their arms shaking in each other's embraces as Viva cries resounded from inside the house. Authorities discovered a hidden ledger in Mendeecees' study papers. Fans are stunned, emotions ran high, and the family was left divided between terror and resistance as terrified children were awakened by loud voices. Each item was accompanied by monetary amounts that matched Erica's bank accounts of unexplained transfers. The entries were full with names, addresses, dates, and shorthand codes that suggested delivery. One agent said in a tight voice, "This isn't small-time abuse. It reads like a distribution ledger." The revelation reverberated throughout the investigation, supporting the idea that Erica had revealed a network that was pulling apart their family's fabric in addition to a personal addiction. Erica, in the meantime, was standing by the curb with Yandy's phone in hand, live broadcasting the raid to her followers. Her voice trembled as she said that they were removing all of his files and private documents, which is evidence that he is at the core of something much larger. Thousands of people watched in real time as the live video blurred the boundaries between private grieving and public spectacle, posing uncomfortable concerns about privacy and the price of truth, Mendeecees given the circumstances. Some comments offered prayers, while others hurled accusations. In that brief, heart-stopping moment, the heavy escort in handcuffs for booking locked eyes with Erica as they passed. Prosecutors later played the video back in court, claiming it demonstrated her victory, and defense lawyers said it showed her triumph, claimed that it captured her heartbreak at a man she loved who was now a suspect. As the new evidence came in, the courtroom proceedings accelerated. The ledger, the pill bottles that were seized, and the opulent storage lockers that had been raided were all entered as exhibits, and jurors looked over transcripts of one terrifying tape of Mendeecees' voice muttering, "I need another round," was played for everyone to hear from Erica's secret recordings of late-night confrontations, full of pleas and accusations. The prosecution said, "This is how he fueled his dependency and fed others." Defense attorneys retorted that the recordings had been altered and removed from context by someone who had no mental health background and was motivated to harm him. Reputable psychologist posted an open letter reminding the public that addiction is a disease, not a crime, and addiction advocates denounced the use of private conversations as court material. She urged compassion for those involved in the scandal, but the defense's appeals for empathy clashed with the prosecution's demands for accountability. Leaving the hard disk found on Mendeecees' laptop had emails with an unidentified mentor that provided guidance on where to find pharmaceutical-grade painkillers, adding a dramatic twist to the jury's struggle with both human frailty and suspected criminal activity. The identity of the mentor was withheld, but intel implied that it belonged to an unidentified production team member. This information sparked new allegations of network collusion, a mysterious behind-the-scenes architect who manipulated events for financial gain and the network's legal. In the midst of this crisis, the children of Mendeecees and Yandi became symbols of collateral damage as pictures of them drawing pictures at the courthouse with crayon castles next to stick figure parents with dejected expressions went viral. The department hurried to distance itself by promising a thorough internal audit of cast and crew communications. As journalists discussed whether it was humane or exploitative to feature children in scandal coverage, many wept silently and said, "I'm so sorry they have to see this." Across social media under hashtags like Innocent Victims and Leave Kids Be, Mendeecees' siblings and cousins quarreled in private talks over the family inheritance. Some called Erica a traitor and demanded devotion, while others called for openness. Praising her for exposing the truth, family get-togethers turned into arguments over how to best protect their father, brother, and son. And what had once been a united front broke down into slamming doors, shouting bouts, and tears. The network veteran addressed the board members. Can we really go back to scripted feuds and choreographed drama when real lives are unraveling? The production executives, who were observing from a distance, nodded uncertainly. In a late-night surprise action, executives wrote emergency protocol adjustments, wellness checks, confidential hotlines, and instant suspension for any cast member facing severe claims, threatening to leave unless the network exhibited a new level of social responsibility. Erica's Yandi was forced to choose between her responsibility as a parent and her allegiance to Mendeecees after the lawyer requested temporary custody of the children, claiming that the continued instability was detrimental. The judge acknowledged a brief hearing to assess the children's welfare was requested due to extraordinary circumstances. The courtroom was once again packed with solemn faces as Erica and Yandi sat side by side, united in motherhood, despite the fact that their marriage was on the verge of disintegrating due to testimony from a former crew member. Another twist was added by a member who said she witnessed Erica capturing hidden camera footage inside Mendeecees' trailer weeks before the controversy emerged. This implied that Erica planned the exposé from the beginning, which caused outrage, and Erica strongly denied it was released. In a rare display of solidarity, rival reality stars released a unified statement pushing the public to take action. Timestamps from her phone indicated that she was on set for legitimate filming. But the rumor spread, reminding everyone how quickly suspicion might be put on motives when the borders between ally and foe blurred. Callers to talk shows expressed gratitude for this voice of reason, even as they clung to every new detail of the story. They also shared personal stories of addiction and recovery and reposted crisis hotline numbers, demonstrating how the united front was a beacon of compassion amid the sensational headlines. Prosecutors said that Mendeecees represented a flight risk and a danger to others, and as the evidence grew, supporters pleaded with bail hearing lines for sympathy, while skeptics stared through steel bars. The court, who was under close public attention, postponed a bail decision until after examining the guardianship petition for the children in the Harris living room. His history of substance abuse defense attorneys responded with his participation in a rehabilitation program and Erica's letters pleading for leniency. The handwritten memo, which was later released by a friendly news outlet, said, "We drafted a statement pledging to co-parent and support Mendeecees' treatment while seeking justice for any victims of alleged distribution." Yandi held a tenuous agreement beneath weak lamplight. "We beg for your respect and space at this trying time because we are unified in our love for our children and dedicated to truth and healing." Although detractors criticized the gesture, many admirers praised it. It was another PR ploy. In the final days before the next hearing, there was a flurry of motion filings, sealed evidence reviews, and emotional therapy sessions. For those caught in the crossfire, The family turned to experts and friends to Mendeecees' broken relationships. A guardianship hearing, a bail decision, and possibly the first steps toward a plea that could define Mendeecees' future were the critical points in the story, where executives drafted a roadmap for return to production conditional on a resolution or plea agreement, and sponsors prepared advice contingent on positive developments. One question remained. Would the judicial system unravel the web of addiction and purported distribution, or would the public's desire for controversy continue to shape the story at the nexus of family crime and television spectacle? The Harris family is at a crossroads. Can truth and healing bring them back together, or will the next chapter tear viewers' hearts and throats apart? It is obvious that the Harris family's ties will never be the same. It's your turn to weigh in. Have you seen the accusations, the evidence raids, the family rifts, and the legal storm that erupted from Erica's courageous revelations? Will the wounds of addiction and treachery prove too deep to heal? Do you think Mendeecees is involved in a clandestine drug business? Or do you see a man battling a real illness who is caught up in gossip and events? Did Erica make the correct decision by speaking out even if it put her own life in danger? Or should such family concerns keep your opinions private and discuss the duty that networks and reality stars have to protect one another's health when unscripted drama veers into a real-life disaster? Are you on team accountability or team compassion? Share based on the comments below your personal struggles with addiction or family strife, and together, let's have a discussion that goes beyond spectacular headlines. Click the like button to demonstrate your admiration for Erica's bravery, your backing if you think Mendeecees merits a second opportunity. In order for us to continue following his adventure together, please subscribe and hit the bell. This isn't just TV rumors. It's a human tale of devotion, hardship, and the pursuit of truth. By joining the conversation, you assist in forming the story and ensure that everyone is held responsible. Thank you for watching, and be sure to tune in for our next in-depth discussion. Keep in mind that reality could unplanned, but our empathy and interest may transform any scandal into a chance for comprehension and transformation.